Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss 13 at Dinner, starring Peter Ustinov, Faye Dunaway, David Suchet, Jonathan Cecil, Bill Nighy, Diane Keane, John Stride, Benedict Taylor, and Lee Horsley, and directed by Lee Antonio. Let's just get straight into this. I've never seen any of these before, except for maybe the remake, but let's get into the movie. Hercule Poirot, returned by Peter Ustinov, goes on live television with Brian Martin, played by Lee Horsley, being interviewed on TV with the TV host, who I forget the guy's name off the top of my head, but he talks with Hercule about crime and coming on television. Is the surprise to Brian named Jane Wilkinson, played by Faye Dunaway, as she's actually Carlotta Adams, also played by Faye Dunaway, while the real Jane Wilkinson watches from home and invites Brian, Hercule, and Carlotta with her friend Ronald Marshall, played by Bill Nighy. And the funny thing is, despite I've reviewed Bill Nighy before in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, but I'm going to review him next time with Underworld, as he's a good actor, admittedly. Meanwhile, Jane asks Hercule to ask her husband for a divorce, and they all have dinner together and as an opening sequence, I don't necessarily mind it whatsoever, particularly since Hercule agrees to give Jane the divorce. I like the shots in this movie. They're all very good shots, and this is a good looking movie in my opinion. Hercule meets with Lord Edgware, who happens to be Jane's husband, that she wants a divorce and from Edgware, tells Hercule that he sent her a letter, which she never got, and who's lying at this point is a mystery to me. Jane wants to marry Brian, aka the co-star of her movie, with him, but Lord Edgware is murdered, which didn't come off as a shock, and as Inspector Japp, played by David Suchet, suspects Jane for murder of her husband, and doesn't want Hercule to intervene because Hercule believes Jane is innocent, while Japp is led to believe she killed him. In so many movies will take this premise that Agatha Christie would be insulted because they copied the book, which I've never confessionally read, and Hercule and Japp are trying to solve Lord Edgware's murders. And Japp is a character that kind of gets on my nerves when he's on screen, because he's honestly sounds antagonistic towards Hercule, and David Suchet's performance has just made him as an average inspector at best. Carlotta is killed as Hercule and Japp make it to her place a little too late, and I'm asking myself, who's in on it? My money was on her husband Ronald when he first met him. When we first meet him, he sounded a bit like he was doing something crooked, with my second guess what happens to be Jane, who feels like the jealous type in my opinion. Ronald's cousin Geraldine visits Hercule about her father, Lord Edgware, and Ronald steps in and he drove her to him. And I'm thinking Ronald is up to something. It's so obviously telegraphed that I can't take the guy seriously. And I'm thinking he's got something to hide that he's not telling Hercule about. But we'll see when I get to the end of the movie. The score was pleasant to listen to, as well as the thick dialogue the actors are giving the audience. They search around for clues to find the murderer, and all this is kind of boring me, but what I do appreciate is the different murder mysteries around Hercule Poirot, as he's in the right place at the right time. Hercule goes to Ronald Geraldine and tells the detective and Japp they didn't tell the truth about their reasoning was to be at the dinner at Jane's place, and Japp arrests Ronald for Lord Edgware's murder, which is what my first guess was, as it was super obvious. But who killed Carlotta? Who's what we haven't gotten to yet, which hopefully is a surprise. Hercule solves the murder at nighttime, and the next day we're at Jane's house for a party, and Donald Ross, as he knows, killed Lord Edgware, in Jane's opinion of Paris, and tries to talk with Hercule to tell him about it. Hercule runs to Donald's place and doesn't make it in time, as he's dead, which was the shame, despite I didn't know him very well, calls Lady Edgeware's secretary and switches her glasses, which is rather clever. He calls everyone in a church where Brian was filming, where before the meeting, and tells everyone it was Jane, which was my second guess. And as a murder mystery, it was good, but as a climax, it was a little predictable, but I didn't mind it this time. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 5.4 out of 10. The mystery was good, despite I had two guesses, and both of them get arrested by the end of the day. There were times when the movie got clever and times I was kind of bored, but I had a fine time with it in general, and so my opinion is it was alright at best. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Dead Man's Folly. And until next time, it's time to solve a murder.